Hello magical friends, it's Vervain, and I thought that today I would show you almost all of the stamps that I've carved. And I say almost all because I'm pretty sure that I'm missing at least one, and if I'm missing one, who knows how many I'm missing. So the one that I'm for sure missing, I'll just go ahead and show you because I definitely have some imprints of it because I carved this lovely flower. So where is the flower? I don't know. I carved the Ouroboros, which is right here. And then with the inside of what was left from that, I carved the flower. Where's the flower stamp? Great question. If you guys know, let me know. But I thought, well, I was watching some elderberry sprout videos. I was kind of binge watching some elderberry sprout videos, if I'm being honest. And they had a video showing, she had a video showing her entire stamp collection and then showing how she carves stamps. And I thought, what a fun idea for a video. And we definitely have different stamp collections and, or hand-carved stamp collections. This is not my whole stamp collection. This is my collection of stamps that I've carved myself. So we definitely have different collections of stamps we've carved ourselves. And from what I saw, we also definitely have different stamp carving techniques. Not to say that one is better than the other, but they are different. So I thought that I might just, hopefully, this is a cool thing to do and not like an uncool thing to do in the YouTube community. But I thought that I would make a similar video showing you my collection of hand-carved stamps and how I carve stamps. So first, we'll go through the collection. And I've already shown you the Ouroboros, and you've seen how I used it. So we'll set that one aside. And then I'm just going to set everything aside. And then we'll just go through them. So in no particular order, I carved this one pretty early on though. I really wanted to make a mermaid paper doll stamp. And I have thought about doing this again because honestly, like so I made her and I used her in my art journal. And I don't know if I've posted it yet when you see this, but if you've seen my art journal flip through, then you can see her in use. But she fits really nicely in my huge art journal. And every time I go to use her again in one of my smaller books, she doesn't really fit in my smaller books. And I just feel like she's just kind of a huge paper doll. So I have thought many times about making a new smaller one, and maybe I will, but not today. So just so you know how this works, this is basically the upper arm, the lower arm, the two hands, the face, the torso, the tail, and the fin. And the fin and tail are not meant to be articulated together, but I like being able to stamp this on like a vellum or a transparent paper or just a different paper than what I'm stamping this onto. So I wanted them to be separate stamps. Yeah, and then it's meant to be where you like, maybe I'll insert a shot here too, where you like attach them with like brads or eyelets, and then it's an articulated doll. So, and then I made it so she could be topless, or she could have a shell bra, or she could have a starfish top. So all of the options are there, and we will set her aside. And of course I could totally use like the top, like the torso to make a different kind of paper doll that wasn't a mermaid. But this was literally like one of the first stamps sets, some of the first stamps that I carved when I started carving stamps. So there's a lot that I would change now, but also there's a lot that I'm proud of. And then this was something that I made from a little scrap. It is a magic wand. And I keep wanting to carve like official tarot suit stamps. And you'll see I actually have this little chalice as well. I should probably lower my camera so that I can actually see what I'm showing you guys. So I'll bring this up again so I know what I'm showing you. So yeah, I keep wanting to do like an actual set of tarot suits, and I've done a bunch of them, but also I just feel like I'd like to do them intentionally where I have like a matching size set And that is not something I have yet achieved. I have a sword here somewhere too, actually. So I guess I do technically have all 4 suits of the tarot, but comparatively, this pentacle is huge. The others actually are fine, but I feel like for tarot wands, I want more traditional tarot wand, less of a fairy wand. This is more of like a star and sparkle at the end, and I think I would want more of like a leaves growing off of it kind of thing. So we've got those. And then these are actually some of my most recent ones. I just got some scraps out the other day and made these after I made my little Kitchen Witch cookbook, and I just think they're so cute. So it's just a little fork, knife, and spoon. And of course, when you stamp it out properly, it goes this way, like a proper table setting with the knife pointing in. But you can use it however you damn well please. But yes, there we go. Little cutlery set. And then this I carved out of an offcut scrap as well. I really love this. I love it just because I love viney leaf things, but also I love that I can, I haven't actually tried stamping it like to make a whole border, but I have done where it goes like this way and then it goes this way and you have it kind of like framing another element. So, and then you could definitely make like a square frame. So that's something that I would like to do more of, is having more just like multi-purpose decorative elements that could be used over and over again. This is a fun one. I wanted to be able to depict like candle spells in my grimoire. And actually, I think originally I was thinking of having a page, and maybe I'll still do this, where I had like a bunch of different colored candles stamped and cut out with maybe even like different intentions like written or carved on them. And then have a page where I could like get out the color that I wanted and put it under the stamped flame. And but either way, whatever, like that's one thing that I could do with it. I did actually use it to do a candle spell in my journal just the other day, if I can find it. Who knows? Oh, it's here it is. There, you can see that. And I haven't found my heat gun, so that one isn't, like I haven't found my heat gun since I moved, so that one isn't done that way. But actually the reason specifically that I carved it as 2 separate ones is because I wanted to be able to use embossing powders for the flame part, which I have done in the past, I believe. I don't know where I have an example of that, but I'm pretty sure I've done it. So that's my candle and candle flame. And then these were some early ones that I did, and I really love these. And there's definitely 3 of them. You know, where is the 3rd one is a great question. And I don't know. It's probably with the flower that's also missing. So, oh my gosh. Okay, wonderful. So there's the 3rd mushroom. Thank you, spirits, for helping me find the thing. And there's the flower. And then here's a whole bunch of other stamps that I'll show you in a minute. Oh, that's great. I'm so glad that we found those together. Thank you for your help. I'm sure that you sent the good vibes that enabled me to find those in some future time, and those vibes traveled back in time just now. So that's really cool. Thanks for your help. Yeah, these mushrooms make me really happy, and that's all that I have to say about them. So we'll set those away. And then I carved, so well, here we'll go. Let's do this one next. So I made an essential oil bottle, and I've actually carved a bunch of these, and I have some of them for sale in my shop. Actually just sold one and shipped off. I love this because I stamp it in like dark brown, which is like the color of the bottle. And then here, I'll show you what a Young Living oil bottle looks like. It looks like this. So I can like paint the background of the paper before or after, because I use permanent inks, and then stamp over it. And then it's like the parts that are dark colored get stamped, and then the like color of the label gets painted in, and then I can use like a white gel pen to write the name or not if I want, and then to fill in like to make the lid extra white if I want, or I can just not paint the lid and leave the inner spaces white. So if I'm like writing out magical oil recipes or whatever, or, you know, I don't know, all sorts of different oil stuff that I like to document in my grimoire, this is really useful and helpful. Yeah, so if you are an oil witch and you need one of these, I think I have some in my shop right now. And if you're not an oil witch, but you'd like to become one, I run something called Oil Coven, and I will pop the links about that in the description of this video so you can learn more. And also I wrote a book called Essential Oil Magic where you can also learn more. And I have a class, a text class that's totally free to join. If you're in the US, just text the words oil magic to 737-3562442. That's 737-35-MAGIC. And I'll send you 14 days of lessons on oil magic and oil witchery and making magic with essential oils. So that could be fun. Moving on. So this was an offcut and it just says notes. So I like to just stamp that at the top of a little sticky note or whatever, where I want to write notes. Sometimes I think about doing lettering stamps where I actually carve it so that the letters are the positive space. And then I think, but you know what else would be a cool effect and what would be so much easier would be to carve the letters as the negative space and just leave the block around. So I did this a long, long time ago. And then just the other day, I did these kind of for my Kitchen Witch companion, but I haven't used them in my Kitchen Witch companion yet. So these are just method and ingredients for my Kitchen Witch companion for documenting recipes. And then this was also something that I carved just the other day. I am having a baby and her name is Rosemary, and also rosemary is one of my favorite herbs. So I wanted to carve some rosemary sprigs. There's a part of me that's also thinking I might use these on a baby shower invitation. I haven't, you know, there's a lot of things floating around in my mind, but I have used them in my cookbook, actually. I just had like a little in bulk candle with my candle stamp in my cookbook in the late winter section, and I like framed it with the rosemary sprigs like that. So it's really cute and I like it. It makes me happy. And I really like how these look. And again, like they can be used to frame like this. They can be used to frame, like you use the same one on opposite corners of a page, or you could do like this on the corners and then like this on the top corners, or you could just like make a whole like border like that. So I'm really excited about the possibilities for this. And this was actually really fun to carve. I like did one of them. I don't remember which one I did first, but I did one of them and then I just stamped it onto the rubber and used that as the template to carve the other one. And of course the hand-carved nature, or the nature of hand-carved stamps, is that they are still not exactly the same, which is great. They still have a very organic feel, while definitely matching and being like well balanced enough that they look like they're supposed to go together. So there's that. This was another thing that I carved the other day. I think I was intending to make this a tarot stamp, and then it just was a little bit wonky shaped, and I kind of wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to do a lot of things, and this is what we ended up with. Just a little box that I can use as a little box, as a little frame to write a little note in, which I probably will use actually quite a lot in my Kitchen Witch companion. So I'm not mad about having this. Often when a stamp doesn't turn out exactly the way you want, it can still be useful. Sometimes when a stamp doesn't turn out exactly the way I want, it goes in the trash. So that's happened a couple times. Let's just show you. I have this stem and leaf that I carved from an offcut. It doesn't have a matching flower, but I figure all sorts of flowers could match it. So I can carve all sorts of different flower heads, or just use cutout flower heads or whatever and do that. And so I'd like to carve like more of these so that I could have like a whole, oh, look at that. We've got this one and this one. I love doing that. I forgot that I'd done that with this one, but I love doing that double-sided stamps where it's like they kind of go together, but you have like different versions of the same thing. Or I'll show you actually. Let's get into this box. So this box has a lot of things in it, but some of the things that it has in it are a bunch of my rune stamps. I have not finished this set. It only goes up to, I want to say, Issa, because I know that Issa's in here, and I was looking for, or I at least know that, yeah, Issa's in here. Issa's right here. But I was looking for Yara the other day, and I couldn't find it. So I think Issa is as far as I made it. But the way these are done is they're solid pebble shapes on this side, which, you know, kind of looks like not a stamp, but I promise you it's a stamp. And then it's the border and the carved rune on this side. So I'll actually grab my grimoire again and show you how it's intended to work. So there's, I don't actually know like where it is in here, so be patient with me for a moment. But basically I'll do like a ghost stamp, if that's what you, I don't know if that's what you call it, but where you like stamp the solid one like once somewhere else, and then you do the second imprint of it, where you're actually stamping, so you get kind of a lighter version of it, and then flip the stamp over and stamp the other side of the same stamp with the full amount of ink on top, and then you get this kind of effect. So yep, I guess we go as far as Issa, and that's as much as I have. So I was just carving those out of offcuts, which is why, like, I didn't sit down to carve the whole set at once, ever. I just was like, let's carve a bunch of these. So let's see. We've got Fehu. We've got Onsus. We've got Raido. We've got Ingwas. We've got Kenaz. We've got Gebo. We've got Hagalaz. We've got I guess it's too small to become Yara, which is probably why I didn't make it into Yara. We've got Thurisaz. We've got Issa. Oh, we've got Ingwas. Okay, we're going all out of order here. Here's Nalthis. Here's Uruz, the one blue one. And I think that's what we've got. Oh no, Winyo. Gebo Winyo. Okay, so we've got the whole first 8, and then we've got Haglaz, Nalthis, Issa, and then we've got Ingwas, and then we've got a pebble. So that's what I have for my rune set, and then I also have a random different Perthrow that I made from a scrap, a random different Onsus that I made from a scrap, and I think that's it for runes. And then we've got a pretty random double-sided leaf, a double-sided coffee bean that I carved while, like, I used to work at Starbucks, but then also there was a week where it froze really hard and my power and my water were both out at home, and it was so fucking cold. And so my husband and I would spend, like, my manager was like, hey, you can like come hang out here in the heat and drink free coffee and stay warm. And so I like brought a bunch of my stamp carving stuff to Starbucks and carved a bunch of stamps at Starbucks, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll carve some coffee beans. So I carved some coffee beans. And then we've got a skillet, and this one is really fun. So I carved the skillet to be stamped in dark ink, and then I carved a double-sided 2 different shapes of egg white to be stamped either in white ink or like embossing powder, so you could do a white embossing, whatever, or it could be you could do some sort of resist or whatever. I definitely did some sort of resist, and I don't remember what I used for that, but I know that I tried that technique, and I know that it's sticky, which could be a clue. So I don't know why it's sticky, but maybe that's why. And then I don't think I have, I think I was just using the eraser of a pencil to stamp the yolk for the fried egg. And then I just carved a little hagstone here for my grimoire, because I was carving offcuts and I wanted a hagstone illustration for my grimoire. This I did just the other day, and I'm not happy with it, and I might throw it away. The idea was that I could put the petals all around and make a flower. And it was just a scrap, but it's just, I don't know, I'm not happy with like the placement and the angle and it's not right. But I'm not throwing it away yet. Okay. And then we have a little star, and I know I saw in this other box another little star. So we've got 2 different little stars carved out of scraps. And then we've got a couple different spirals. So we've got this one that I carved. I think I did, okay. I did these just the other day, and then this is an old one, and I tried to do another one on the back, but I fucked it up, so I carved a slice through it so that I know it's not good and I can't use it. But we've got some nice spirals there. These I really like using as like all over background stamps. Those are fun that way. And then, okay, so we've got a music note, 8th note here. And we've got a little arrow that it was supposed to just be like an arrow, but it's really giving like Windows 95 cursor vibes. So there's that. And then here we are getting into the world of tea. So these are the Chinese characters for cha, which is tea, and qi, which is qi. Qi, it's like spirit, energy, life force energy. Yeah. So, and then cha chi is like the energy or the spirit or the vibe of a particular tea. As a tea witch, that is something that I have a lot to say about when I'm talking about or writing about or documenting particular teas. So I thought it was worth carving stamps for cha and chi so that I could write about cha chi. And there's that. And while we're talking about tea stuff, I made a gaiwan, which is what you pour Gong Fu Cha style tea out of, a teacup, which is what you pour Gong Fu Cha style tea into. I don't have a Gong Da Bei yet. I mean, I have real Gong Da Bei, but I don't have a stamp Gong Da Bei at this juncture. Oh yeah, and then I have a tea leaf. So we've got the three sprigged tea leaf that's currently covered in acrylic paint because I was using it for gel prints. And I think I stamped these in my grimoire. Yes. Cha Chi, tea vibes. So you can kind of see how all of these stamp out. And I think I was going to write about like different types of tea in these cups. I don't really remember what I was going to do there, but I'll do it someday probably. Okay, I'm going to put all of these runes back away in here. And probably these other little ones I will put in a different place so that I can just have the runes together. And then I'll show you these because I've got these on the desk. So these I carved, well, actually I might have carved these for a different reason, like just because I wanted to, but then they're covered in paint because I did a workshop at one of my oil retreat events where I had block printed a bunch of muslin with acrylic paint and fabric medium in these stamps in a couple different colors. And then I led a workshop where we turned those into little charm pillows and charm bags, and we stuffed them with cotton and little paper scrolls with our intentions and essential oils. And so they're like little passive diffusers, but they're also charm bags or charm pillows. And they're also beautiful because they have these flowers stamped on them. Oh, and I did some with the tea leaf as well. So I had 3 options for people to choose from. I had pre-stamped all of the fabric and people just picked their pair of like, I had already cut it out and everything. And I just brought like the thread and the needle and the cotton and the papers and some little crystals for people to use. And everyone had their own oils. So we did that. Let's push those to the side. Okay, and then we're gonna go over the rest of these little ones before I show you these big ones. So we've got another, if it's a rune, I'm popping it in the rune box. So we've got a nice big Othala. We've got a nice big Gebo. I think I used those in my zine. We've got a bind rune sigil that I made for my handmade products that I kind of was looking for earlier today and couldn't find, and I packed up my product, but you know, whatever. We found it now. And then I was turning some offcuts into just like shapes that I could do like repeating stamp patterns. And so we've got this diamond and this almost square that are really fun to do like harlequin and checkerboard prints with. So I like those. And then we've got a little like water drop or teardrop, depending on how you use it. And we've got a tree or a branch, depending on how you use it. We've got some darkness full of stars. and a border of Darkness Full of Stars. My zine that I put out after my miscarriage, it has some stuff about like that particular grief, but then it also has just different stuff about like yearning and longing and grief and loss, and it's called The Darkness Between the Stars. So this was on the cover, and then like the branch was in there for sure. This was in there somewhere. A lot of these were in there. I carved a lot of stamps like specifically for the zine, and then I actually have used a lot of them since then. We've got another little kind of leaf flourish border type thing, and another little leaf flourish type border thing. Can you tell I have an aesthetic? And then I've got this little scrolly flourish text separator kind of thing. I have this star, this 8-pointed star. I have a little teeny tiny heart, and then a slightly longer heart, and they go together very nicely. Ooh, and I have, this is one of my favorite ones. I have a little Texas. I have a little Texas. I live in Texas, and I like Texas. I'm not from here, but I got here as fast as I could. And then this was actually, there was a collage I was doing, and I was like, man, this collage would be great if it just had a snail in exactly the right pose. And so I just carved the snail in exactly the right pose and stamped it out, and now I'm quite happy with the collage. I don't know if I have a picture of it, so I don't know if you'll get to see it, but I like the snail. I think it's fun and cute. And then we've got a different kind of wand. This is more of like a, I guess, a Harry Potter-esque wand. It's just like a wooden wand with no star on the end. And then we've got a little scrap offcut crystal. I love this, and I want like 5 more of these in slightly different shapes so that I can just have a whole bunch of them. I did carve another one of these the other day to send off, like from a scrap to send off as an extra with the oil bottle stamp that I sold. So she got a little extra, which is fun. And then I have this teeny tiny picture frame, which I think I put in here. Let's see. Yep. So I just put it up here. So it's like stamped in, on these at least, it's stamped in gold on the brown paper, and then further decorated. Yeah. So I think that was pretty good. And then these were really fun. This was an idea I got from, I don't remember where I got this idea actually. So I kind of like how the runes are, but the runes are, it's double-sided. That's the one that's not double-sided, you know, where you have the solid side and the line side. This is just 2 separate stamps. So you've got the solid leaf, and then you've got the line art for the leaf, so you can stamp them one over the other. And then I don't have any examples of this one, but I have some examples of this one that you might have seen chilling in my little box. So it looks kind of like this once you stamp it. I think it's pretty cute and pretty cool. All right, let's put all those little ones back in here. Let's just pop a lot of these. Well, we'll come back to all that later. Okay, and then that brings us to this pile. So some of these are definitely stamps. Some of these are big enough that I don't really think of them as stamps. I think of them as lino cuts. I would not use them outside of the context of printing a print. And that's really just 2 of them, actually. But I figured they were the only 2 that I had right now, so I might as well show them to you. And those are at the bottom of the pile. So this is the self-portrait that, again, you probably just saw stamped out right here. And I actually carved it specifically for this to have a self-portrait at the beginning of this grimoire book. But I have used it a couple times since then. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. And then this was one that I carved for the Darkness Between the Stars zine, but I have used it on a bunch of pieces since then, so I quite like it. I think of it as the home is where the heart is stamp, because it's just a house, but it's got a little heart with an arrow through it, weather vane, and a little heart window, and a little heart doorknob, and I just think it's really cute. And then I made 3 book plates. So these are for I guess you could stamp them directly in the book, but I like to do stickers, and I had one in the drawer, so I pulled it out. All the rest of the ones that I've stamped, I have gifted away or used or sold. But this is what this rose one looks like. And the idea is that, like, it says ex libris at the top, which means from the library of in Latin. And then in the flower pot, you would just write your name. And then on the other ones, this one's a mushroom, and you would write your name in the grass. And then this one is a sailboat, and you would write your name in the water. So it's a couple different book plate patterns. And then this was for, in Oil Coven, we were doing a tarot card swap for like a build your own basket case type thing, where like we each broke up a deck that we liked but weren't really using. Some people bought new decks to do this. Some people broke up decks they already had. And we each had 5 partners, and you each sent 10 cards to each partner. So then each person got 50 cards in the mail, 10 each from 5 different people, and sent out 50 cards, 10 each to 5 different people. And I made this to put on the front of my envelopes. It's kind of a self-portrait to write the address in here. And I will definitely use this on more mail art in the future, but also I feel like I can definitely see myself using this like in my Kitchen Witch companion to hold like a recipe or a little note or something in this spot. I feel like there's a bunch of fun ways to use this sort of stamp with writing space in it. So I'm definitely I had kind of forgotten about this, and I'm glad that we found it today so that I could be reminded about that and use it for that. This was the first one that I would consider like a line of cut, and the first one that I made that I would consider a line of cut. And I call her Venus of the Underground. And everyone says that it reminds them of, is it Among Us or The Last of Us? These are 2 pieces of media, both of which I am not familiar with. I don't even know if those are video games or shows or books, or I assume they're not books because it's 2024 and a lot of people seem to know about them. Movies, shows, games, I don't know what they are. But apparently one of them is about like mushroom zombies, and that makes people think of this. I don't think of this that way, but you can think of this that way, and that's fine too. I just really like her, and I made a bunch of prints of her that I keep meaning to put up for sale, but I also keep wanting to have like an art show, and to like have an art show in person first before I list my like art online. And hopefully maybe this spring or this summer I'll be able to do that at this house. My last house definitely was not a good space for that, and I feel like my current house is a much better space for it. So maybe once we're a little more moved in and stuff, I'll be able to do that. But yes, so this is Venus of the Underground, and then this is the 10 of Swords. And I'll see if I can find some images of what it looks like stamped out. I don't have any easily reachable right now, but this is the 10 of Swords. And I feel like the 10 of Swords tarot card is really about like when it seems like all is lost and everything is over and it's totally the end, there's still hope after that darkness. There's still light after the darkness. There's still life after death. And I feel like mushrooms really, I don't know how well you can tell in the stamp version. It's much clearer in the actual stamped image, but we've got a woman lying here, and then the mushrooms, the 10 mushrooms growing up out of her body, and then all this rain, and it's all framed by a tree, and we've got the 10 at the top, and a little butterfly here for transformation. And I feel like the mushrooms kind of are, they do turn death into life. Like that is what they do. That is what they are. And so I felt like that was a really appropriate image for the 10 of Swords. And I felt like also I was just on a mushroom carving kick, and I felt like the 10 of Swords was a really appropriate context to carve a lot of mushrooms. So I had this image in my head. I put it into rubber. I printed it on paper. I have some prints of it. Same story. I have been avoiding listing them for sale or sharing too much about them because I want to have an art show at my house before I list the things online. But I will have prints of this available at some point. Okay, and then we have this one that I made as like a bookmark. And if I recall, I'm not really in love with it, but I don't know. I'll have to stamp it out and see again how I feel about it now. It's just kind of a whole scene. So we've got some roots at the bottom growing up into a flower, and some grass and a little stepping stone path going up to this little house. and then there's some birds and some smoke coming from the chimney, and there's a tree, and then there's rain falling on the tree coming from the clouds going up to the sun. So it is kind of a cool concept, and like I'm looking at it now and I'm like, why wouldn't I like this? So I honestly don't remember. I just remember having a vibe that I didn't really love it. Maybe it was just I did a bad job printing it, or maybe when I go to print it again, I'll find out why I didn't love it. But I like it now looking at it. So there's that. Excuse me. And then this is so close to done that I had to bring it out and show it to you. But it's not done. And it's, you know, it's this. It is the Web of Weird made of rose thorns that I have been endlessly doodling for almost a decade now. And that means so much to me that I got it permanently etched on my arm. And I still am not through with it. And I have it doodled in here too. You probably saw, I think it's here. Yeah. I did a little Dilutions ink page. It's not as detailed here. I could definitely go back and add a lot of detail. And if you saw my art journal flip through, it's in there too. I don't know if I've posted that yet. But if I haven't posted it yet, I have an art journal flip through coming. If I have posted it yet, it's in my art journal flip through. And I was just about to say that maybe this would be a good one to show you how I carve stamps. And then I thought, that is too high pressure, because even though it's not true Celtic knot style, in that like a true Celtic knot is one continuous line that interlocks and connects and stuff, and this is 9 separate lines doing their own thing, the weaving and like making sure that everything is like on top or underneath in the right place and getting that right is really important to me. And I'm afraid that if I do this on camera right now, it's just going to be too much pressure and I'm going to fuck it up. So I need to do that when I can just take my time and focus on that. So I was thinking that I was going to do all in one video, like showing you the stamp collection and then how I carve stamps. And I'm now realizing that showing you my stamp collection took like 45 minutes. So instead, I'm going to call it quits here and say thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you found something in this video to inspire you. And I hope that you enjoyed yourself watching this video. And if you want to see how I carve stamps, which might be the same as how you carve stamps if you carve stamps, or might be the same as how other people carve stamps, or it might be different from how other people carve stamps. But I thought I would take you along on a little stamp carving journey with me. But we're going to do that in a separate video. So that'll be the next video after this one is published. So thank you for joining me for this one. Once again, I hope that you were able to find some inspiration in this video. And I hope that you have a wonderful, magical day. There will be a ton of relevant links down in the description for all the things that we discussed. And if you're not subscribed already, please consider hitting that subscribe button and giving me a follow here so that we can have more fun together, making more magic together and more art together, and just enjoying more time together here on the magical YouTube's portion of the interwebs. And I'm going to stop talking because my throat is literally sore after filming like 3 flip-throughs and this in a row. So I love you. Good night, or whatever time it is where you are. Have a good one. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.